Have you ever slowed down after seeing an Animal Crossing sign like this?
I definitely have.
Off the top of your head, when we were doing a road trip through Gujarat, do you remember all of the signs and all of the different animal species we saw depicted in crossing
I
signs?
think I do. When we entered Gujarat, the initial signs we saw were of, I think, Nilgai or lions. And then there was also a lot of buck signs, black buck and deer's generic crossing signs. And then eventually we also saw the wild ass sign.
Yeah, and there was a crocodile in there too. You forgot that one.
There was a crocodile near the river.
Yeah, so we saw so many of these that the other day you suggested we look into the origins of Animal Crossing signs. So I did some digging that I wanted to share with you. Sound good?
Yep.
Animal Crossing signs are pretty similar all over the world, and they generally have, like you identified, a silhouette of an animal that's common in a specific area. So these silhouettes can be both of wild animals and domesticated ones. We've seen cows, for example.
Yeah, we did see a lot of cattle crossing signs.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Animal Crossing signs are similar from country to country. Basically, when car manufacturing really started ramping up in the early 1900s, countries came together to agree on some common road signs. It was in the early iterations of these international agreements in 1926 and 1931 where...
26, so that's 100 years ago.
100 years ago. Yeah, there was a little bit like even before then, but like it started ramping up into like some visible designs on paper that were in these treaties.
The prototypes by 26.
Yeah. So that's where we start seeing some signs that are very recognizable today, like the P parking, train crossing, and one-way signs.
These signs can also be a little bit distracting sometimes though. Like remember the one that we saw in California that said deer XING, and I was wondering what XING was.
You're like, what?
It was a translation of a deer.
Yes, well, I don't think you're the only one to ever have made that mistake. But yeah, they can be distracting, but also when you're in a new country and you're driving in a place that you don't know really well, it is comforting to have signs that you can recognize from where you come from.
Absolutely. There is a certain amount of cohesion and similarity and standardization going on here.
Yeah. So these international agreements were the ones that established some uniform ways for countries to tell drivers about things like potential dangers or when they should be a little bit more cautious. We don't really see the Animal Crossing sign explicitly defined until the 1968 United Nations agreement called the Vienna Convention on Road Signs and Signals. And even though not all countries signed the agreement, most countries actually use the convention as a guideline for how they make those road signs, even if they didn't officially sign on to ratify it.
I guess if someone was asked to design a sign and they were working in a country that did not sign on to the convention, the mood board would probably have a lot of inspiration from the other countries that have signed on to the agreement.
There is still a question that remains though, and that is how effective are Animal Crossings, like the signs at preventing roadkill? And I did a little bit of digging for more information about that. I found a review paper, and when you hear review paper, what comes to mind?
That it looked at a lot of studies and then tried to find common threads or observations that might have eluded the individual studies, but is apparent as a pattern as a whole.
Yeah. But this 2020 review paper actually goes beyond only looking at research. It also looked at different countries' legislation on road signs. It looked through web searches and social media. And after reviewing all this information, they found out that we don't actually know that much about how effective Animal Crossing signs are in preventing accidents. But what some studies have found is that these signs are more effective when they're paired with a speed limit sign. One of the studies that the paper reviewed found that around 60% of drivers do seem to change their driving behavior after seeing an Animal Crossing.
That's huge.
And one of those drivers is you, right? Like you said. Most of the drivers did actually avoid fatal collisions entirely once they had changed their behavior. So it seems like animal crossing signs do appear to have a kind of psychological effect on drivers and ultimately reduce collisions.
Yeah, and one important thing to remember here is that it's not just for the animals and wildlife safety, but also for the driver and the car.